There are moments in life that don't arrive with warning, they don't knock, they don't ask permission, they just happen. And in a single breath, they rewrite everything you thought you knew about love, about family, about yourself. At my father's retirement dinner, the room was glowing. Crystal chandeliers shimmered above us, casting warm light over polished marble floors. Soft music floated through the air, and laughter echoed between people dressed in elegance, people who looked like they belonged to something perfect. My father stood at the center of it all, glass raised high, smile perfectly practiced, the kind of smile he wore in public, the kind that convinced everyone he was a man worth admiring. "To my real children," he said, voice steady, confident, proud, "the ones who made me proud." Applause erupted instantly. Glasses clinked, cameras flashed, people nodded like they were witnessing something meaningful, and for a second, just 1 second, I thought maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I missed something. Maybe. Then he turned, and his eyes found me, not gently, not warmly, but like I was something out of place, something that didn't belong in the picture he had spent a lifetime painting. "You can leave." Just like that. No explanation, no pause, no hesitation. A sentence delivered as casually as a toast. My body didn't react all at once. It came in waves, heat rushing through my chest, cold settling into my hands, my legs suddenly unsure if they could still hold me. Around me, no one spoke. Not my mother, sitting there in her perfect pearls. Not my sister, her smile frozen like it didn't quite know where to go. Not my brother, who suddenly found his plate very interesting. No one stopped him, no one questioned it. And in that silence, I understood something I had been trying not to see for years. This wasn't a mistake. This was a decision. I stood up slowly, carefully, because there's a kind of pain that doesn't explode. It tightens. It wraps around your chest and reminds you that if you breathe too deeply, you might break in front of everyone. And I wasn't going to give them that. Not tonight. But then, my husband stood up too, and everything changed. You see, Aaron was never loud. He wasn't the kind of man who filled a room with noise. He was the kind who filled it with presence, the kind who didn't need attention, but somehow held it anyway. And as he stood beside me, calm and steady, the room shifted, not loudly, but noticeably. He reached into his blazer, pulled out a deep blue folder, the one I had asked him, begged him not to bring, because some truths, once spoken out loud, can't be taken back. "Since you're making announcements," he said, voice even, respectful, but firm, "let's make one more." The room went quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like the air itself is waiting. He opened the folder, and in that moment, everything my father thought he controlled started slipping through his fingers. Inside were documents, legal ones, clear, signed, final. The house, the retirement fund, the trust, all of it. Not in my father's name, not in my siblings' names, mine. There's a strange sound people make when truth interrupts illusion. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's small. A breath caught halfway, a fork dropped too quickly, a chair shifting just slightly. That sound filled the room. "This man," Aaron continued, nodding gently toward my father, "is living in a house his daughter bought. No anger, no accusation, just truth. Every part of this evening was made possible by her." My father didn't speak. For the first time in my life, he didn't have anything to say. Aaron turned to me then, softly, pulled my chair back like none of this chaos existed. "Are you ready to go?" he asked. And the way he said it, not like we were escaping, but like we were choosing. I nodded, because something inside me had already shifted. Something quiet, but permanent. We didn't rush. We didn't argue. We didn't look back. We walked out. Together. And as my heels echoed across the marble floor, I realized something I hadn't fully understood until that moment. I wasn't leaving. I was stepping out of a version of my life that had never truly included me. Outside, the air felt different, sharper, colder, real. And for the first time that night, I could breathe. Aaron squeezed my hand gently. "Did I go too far?" he asked. I looked at him, at the one person in that entire room who had never asked me to be anything other than myself, and I shook my head. "No," I said quietly. Then, after a pause, "You didn't go far enough." Because this wasn't about one dinner. It never was. It was about every moment I had been overlooked, every time I had been dismissed, every quiet sacrifice that went unseen, because it was easier for them to believe I had nothing to offer. But the truth was never loud. It was built slowly, silently, patiently. And now, it was time for it to be seen. That night, I didn't cry, not the way I thought I would. Instead, I sat in my home office, the one no one in my family had ever stepped foot in, and I opened my laptop. Everything was already there, prepared, organized, ready. And because deep down, I think I had known this moment was coming, and what I did next wasn't about revenge, it was about clarity. Pause, soft music builds. Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is this: the people you keep trying to prove your worth to are the same people who decided long ago not to see it. And when you finally stop trying, that's when everything begins.